This is the X-Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X-Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to Dialogue with Divinity. This is Johanna Carroll, your host. I'm absolutely thrilled today because I have a woman in Hollywood who I think is one of the nicest people in Hollywood and also the queen of the cancer schmancer movement, and that's Fran Dresher. And I'm sure all of you know who she is, but I do want to share with you that besides being a film and comedian, television actress, model, producer, she's an ordained Universalist minister and an activist. And the thing that we need, Fran, is as a uterine cancer survivor, she really has taken this whole subject of health and wellness and well-being and really turned it into a major movement. She's very outspoken about healthcare, being an advocate for that, and also lesbian, gay rights activist. She really is also very much noted for her work as a public diplomacy envoy for women's health issues for the United States Department. So anyway, Fran Dresher, welcome to Dialogue with Divinity, and thank you so much for taking the time to talk about Cancer Schmancer and this incredible movement and your summit that's coming up in Los Angeles.
Well, thanks for giving me a forum. You know, every place I can find a listener, I want to talk about how I can help them change their life so that they can reduce their risk of disease and how they can feel more empowered by and empower their family as well and connect lifestyle with disease much more so than we're doing, and to realize that we have purchasing power, consumerism, to dictate manufacturing trends and manufacturers' responsibility.
You know, one of the parts of your story that really sort of hit home for me was a couple of years ago. I was seeing a doctor and I had some major health problems, and I didn't feel that he listened to me. Matter of fact, I know he didn't listen to me because 6 months later, I wound up having 2 emergency heart surgeries. And I know that it took you 2 years trying, and 8 doctors, I believe, that you went to before you really got the correct diagnosis. And I wonder if that is a common thing, particularly for women.
First of all, I think that it runs pretty rampant in the United States because doctors are bludgeoned by big business health insurance to go the least expensive route of diagnostic testing. So many of them subscribe to the philosophy, if you hear hooves galloping, don't look the zebra, it's probably a horse. But if you happen to see a zebra, you're at risk of falling through the cracks until, sadly, you may be diagnosed when it's too late. I, by the grace of God, even after 2 years and 8 doctors, was finally diagnosed with uterine cancer while it was still in stage 1. And, but that was because I was very persistent and I didn't really listen to any of the doctors that were very convinced that I was perimenopausal. And every time they'd put me on another hormone replacement therapy, it wasn't helping me. And in some cases, it even exacerbated my symptoms. So I would move on. And the whole process was, in hindsight, a journey I believe that I was destined to be on. And I feel like I got famous, I got cancer, and I lived to talk about it. So I'm talking. And, but women, of course, are, known to be a little more passive and less challenging and less and more easily intimidated in the doctor's office. So my goal is, without question, to empower women to challenge their physicians, become better partners with them. My goal is to transform all patients into medical consumers and recognize what the early warning whispers are of the and know the tests that are available, because they may not even be on the menu at the doctor's office. But women are also very powerful in the sense that they remain the caregiver, even in these times when most women are working women, still remain the caregiver to the child, the spouse, and the elder in almost every home, nationwide and worldwide. She is also the largest consumer of any demographic. So what she buys, how she takes care of her family, what she brings into the home, what they eat, who's making those doctor's appointments is her. So we engage and empower her with education, because knowledge is power, and motivation, because all too often women will neglect their own health and sacrifice themselves for their family. Put aside those early warning whispers that they know are indications of something, but they got to get the kids off to school. They got to get food on the table. They got to go to work. They got to bring home the baby, whatever it is. They come up with a million excuses why they don't need to make that doctor's appointment today. And what we do at Cancer Schmancer is tell you, you know when something feels off. Make that appointment, have it checked out, because if you catch it on arrival, 95% survival, and you are useless to your family when you're 6 feet under.
Well, I have to tell you, not that this is about me, this is about everyone and every woman and man out there with an illness, but I have to say that one of the nurses said to me, "You're lucky you came in when you did, because most women don't." And I think that women typically, maybe we're just used to all these aches and pains, and like you said, putting everyone, before ourselves. But I also feel that spiritually right now, we do have a responsibility to understand that loving yourself and serving yourself is not being selfish. It's really serving your soul at a very deep, profound level. So I know that you've got this amazing health summit that's coming up on October the 26th, which is a Wednesday, in Los Angeles at the Skirball Cultural Center. For those of you that are listening, we are really encouraging you to attend this summit, because the speakers and the people that are really going to educate you to a whole new level so that you are a more informed medical consumer, it's profound. You can purchase your tickets at cancerschmancer.org. So I was looking at the syllabus, or your schedule or menu of all the people that are talking, and it's very, very diverse. And I was very happy to see that you've got a conversation going about quantum physics and how that can boost your immune system. Is that something that, you personally, if you don't mind me asking, how does quantum physics and energy work really fit into boosting the immune system and your general sense of knowledge about your body?
Well, that's all we are, is energy and electrical currents. So, this physical body, that's
Right.
really all it is. And if we start looking at how we're intercepting the beautiful harmony of our energy field and how it fits so perfectly in the natural world with everything that we impose upon it that's unnatural or radioactive, you can only imagine why our poor little immune systems have such a difficult time preventing us from getting sick nowadays, because there's just a cacophony of things that we are exposed to on a daily basis, that is electromagnetic fields that completely interrupt who we are as energy forces. And, and we wear a lot of rubber-soled shoes all day. We hardly ever are barefoot getting the energy from the earth. But if you think about us as an antenna for the earth's energy, you need to allow that energy to come into us. And there's so much about indigenous wisdom that we are fast forgetting, thanks to, the Western world and the Industrial Revolution, which is really not as much of a revolution as a Dark Ages, quite frankly. Well, how we've impacted our planet and our health and the entire living world and all of our natural resources is really sad and completely unsustainable and not serving us well. So we have to look at health as a holistic global problem. And everything on this planet is one big interconnected living organism. And we have to start thinking about our body as a system, not individual parts of the body that get sick and is unrelated to the rest, but as a complete system that either works in harmony or becomes disharmonious, and what it is that we're doing on a daily basis that's causing that interference. Now, we expose ourselves to so many chemicals, we don't even really think about it, but 1 out of 2 men and 1 out of 3 women are expected to get cancer in their life.
Wow.
The children of today, for the first time in U.S. history, are anticipated to not live as long as their parents. Babies are being born pre-polluted with 200 to 300 chemicals found in the umbilical cord, and American women's breast milk has the highest percentage of flame retardant in it from any woman on the planet. So we have to start really thinking about the fact that cancer is the end stage of inflammation, and inflammation comes from lifestyle mostly. Over 90% of all of our cancers are environmentally stimulated. Only 5% is genetic. And even genes has been proven to turn on and off depending on how you live your life and what you expose yourself to. So we have the power to make that change right here and right now. And if your listeners come to our Cancer Schmancer Summit, on a health summit on October 26th at the Skirball Cultural Center here in Los Angeles, they're really going to get an earful of all different experts from, people that are very much on the cutting edge of innovation to traditional to Eastern and indigenous concepts of how to stay healthy and keep your body in harmony and in ease, so it's not in dis-ease. And this is, I think, essential conversation to start having and never stop, because the way we live and the way we treat the planet is completely unsustainable. And with so many people getting sick, we're just getting used to it. We're getting numb to the fact that so many people are getting sick, that so many children have learning differences, that younger people are getting diseases that historically were for older people, that there are so many autoimmune problems, and the people that are getting rich are big business pharmaceuticals, big business health insurance, and, people that are in the business of sickness.
I read an article recently that said that over 65% of pharmaceutical drugs are consumed in the United States, which is a really high number. And that, part of the formulary and the the syllabus in the top medical schools, it's almost like, I mean, I don't mean to trash them because there's parts of traditional medicine that do have value, but it's like, they're learning to just prescribe a lot of medicine. And, as you said, even for yourself, when you were on your path of recovery, there were a lot of drugs that you were taking that actually were not good for your system. And so because we've got a pharmaceutical industry and we do have an insurance industry, and we have, the medical community at large, I mean, it really is going to require a whole shift in consciousness. Do you see that? I mean, obviously your summit is a huge, huge piece of this. It's a very big voice for everyone. Do you see that in terms of the medical doctors that you are talking to, both traditional and alternative, are they really seeing the value in shifting this consciousness? It's a whole paradigm. It's a really whole new paradigm in healing. Are you seeing a new wave of consciousness?
I see how we at Cancer Schmancer are impacting the culture and consciousness of everyday life, and I think that the people that will attend our health summit on the 26th will really learn a lot. They'll hear things that their regular doctor may not know or won't say. We've been dumbed down to think that we need our government research to tell us we shouldn't do something. Mm-hmm. And until we see that proof, it's okay to do it. That's not true. Actually, it's just the opposite. There isn't enough money in the world to research what we need to know. Nobody is going to support it because there's too much money at stake and too much pressure from big business to keep everything the status quo and not educate the public. You have to start listening to your inner voice because that's closest to your creator. And if you're using toothpaste that has poison control, you should stop using that. And you don't have to wait for somebody at the FDA to say, maybe putting this in our mouth 2 times a day minimum isn't the best thing because the gums is the gateway to everything.
Right.
And this thing, it's like use your brain when it comes to your health.
So I know that Dr. Christy Funk is going, for those of you, okay, again, Cancer Schmancer Summit. You've really, really got to make an effort to be in LA and attend this on October the 26th. It's going to be at the Skirball Center. For more information, you can go to their website, which is cancerschmancer.org. And they can purchase their tickets there and find out more information, correct? Okay, so.
Because it's free to join and get all kinds of information. Learn how to detox your home. Learn how to make healthy cleaning products. Learn how to throw a detox your home party. Learn how to engage your family. We have video. We have all kinds. We have a whole thing that you can tap into for products that the cosmetics industry and the environmental working group all agree are safe for us to use on a daily basis. These are things that you have at your fingertips when you go to cancerschmancer.org.
I know that Mary Lou Henner and her husband Michael Brown are going to be there, and they also beat cancer through lifestyle change. Was there a huge nutritional component to this as far as what what they were eating?
Without question.
Yeah.
Food is medicine, and medicine is food. Socrates wrote that in ancient Greece. Somewhere along the line, in modern times, we've forgotten that. But there are indigenous cultures that know how to heal. But when you're eating industrial-raised foods that's laden with chemicals and is GMO, and industrial raised farm animals that are not living a normal life, that are given all kinds of hormones and antibiotics, that are not eating the way they were meant to eat, being pasture raised and grass fed, you're eating poison. Don't bother. And if we
Yeah,
don't stop,
it's amazing going to the grocery store. Not that I'm checking out everyone's cart, but actually on some level I do, because we only eat organic food and my husband and I are very health conscious with what we put in that system. But I have to say, there's a lot of dead food going into people's bodies, and along with the dead food is a tremendous amount of chemicals, particularly sugar. And from what I understand about cancer, cancer really loves sugar. So for those of you that are listening to this right now, go into your cabinet and throw away, pardon me, all the crap. You've got to, if you really care about living a body, mind, spirit lifestyle, you've got to be true to the body, to the mind, and to the spirit. So in terms of, I know you've got American Gladiator Dan Nitro Clark. He's going to be there. And I love the fact that there's men that are attending your summit that are really going to talk. Does he talk specifically to the men? You know, here's this tough guy, right? And he had his own health scare, and he's going to be really talking a lot about that at the summit. Is that correct?
Yes, he is. And,
I'm kind of losing you, Fran. I hope you're there. We're talking about American Gladiator Dan Clark coming onto the summit and talking about his own health scare. And we're talking about Cancer Schmancer Movement with Fran Dresher. And I want you all to know that there's a big health summit in Los Angeles on October the 26th. It starts at 9 o'clock in the morning. For more information, you can go onto their website. You can purchase tickets at cancerschmancer.org. So we had a little break in connection. Fran, are you back with us? Okay, so what I want to say is that we have another guest that's coming on today, and actually Fran had just talked about this. And she is phenomenal as far as being another loud voice for healing. And I want you to know that we've got, for all you women that are out there buying all kinds of makeup and putting it on your face and not realizing the ingredients that you've got, we've got Stacey Malkin coming on after Fran Drescher. She wrote Just Not a Pretty Face, and she talks about the ugly side of the beauty industry and all the chemicals. So I'm hoping that we've got Fran back on and are reconnected to you. Are you here with us, Fran? Okay, so let me tell you a little bit about Stacey Malkin. She wrote this book, I'm Not Just a Pretty Face. She wrote it 10 years ago, but she also started a major movement. And she really talks about, she led the investigative research project on all those toxic chemicals that are in your personal care products that Fran was just talking about, and how to find safer alternatives. She's done a tremendous amount of research. We're going to talk about what are the worst chemicals in the products and which are the worst products, and the companies as well. So we want you to know that in everything that we're talking about today, the real big message here for all of you is to understand that you've got choice. You've got alternatives. And it's really, if you really care about your health, I know that so many people across the planet have been affected by health scares, disease, cancer. And really what it requires, like Fran was saying, it's really a wake-up call to live your life a brand new way and a brand new day. And that's what our show, Dialogue with Divinity, is all about, bringing the wisdom keepers to shift your consciousness. So we're hoping that we can get Fran back on, but I do want to tell you that, again, in order for your body to listen to your heart, you've got to sing it a new song. And so how do you do that? We talked about energy. We talked about the quantum field. You all have a field of light around you. It's known as the Oversoul. And the Oversoul holds the intelligence of the divine, yourself, and your soul. And you have an opportunity to really connect into that energetic system, both through what's available and the good things in traditional medicine and the alternative medicine, and a whole new way of eating, and really waking up and looking at your lifestyle a brand new way. You know, I have this saying that God will slam you into the sidewalk until you get it. And unfortunately for many people, we don't make these changes in our life, and Fran is back. So we're waiting for Fran to come back on. We've lost our connection a little bit, but we haven't lost our voice. So we're talking about Cancer Schmancer Health Summit. It's going to be in Los Angeles on October the 26th. It's going to be at the Skirball Cultural Center, and it starts at 9 o'clock. You can get your tickets and more information at cancerschmancer.org. And we're going to finish up with Fran Dresher, who is really the queen of this movement, who basically walked around for 2 years not getting the right diagnosis, and after 8 doctors, she did find help. And so we're going to bring her back on the air.
Hi.
Apologize. Hi.
Hey,
So,
I don't know what
we
happened
lost you.
or where I lost you.
You floated into the cosmos. That's okay. I was actually talking about the fact that, we really have a responsibility to the fact that, life is a blessing. And you were talking about, the quantum field, which I refer to as the oversoul. And you cannot expect your soul and your spirit to be thriving if your body is not being fed, just like your soul needs to be fed on some level. So in terms of the alternative medical part of, what you know to be true, are you finding that meditation and quietness and, taking a break from life, unplugging all those horrible electronics is really helping people a lot?
I know it helps me. And
Okay.
I can only gauge by my own experience as kind of the experimenter. But I really think that we need to quiet down our lives and reduce our all the radiation as much as we can, and to be aware of that. But where was it that you lost me? Because we weren't talking about that anymore.
No, but I just carried on the conversation as if you were here listening and moved into the whole alternative piece. So, we were talking about the fact that the medical industry and us as consumers, we as consumers are really influenced. And of course, one of those big influencers is the corporate dollars, but it's also the media. Do you see that there's any hope that the media is going to change their voice around all of this?
Well, look, the media responds to us and our behavior. If we stop feeding into fear-driven news reporting that's primarily has a controlled narrative, if we stop buying products that are filled with carcinogens, if we stop thinking that we have to constantly be spraying our homes with pesticides or eating foods that are unhealthily grown, industrial farming is probably the worst thing that could have happened to any of us. And these poor industrial farmed animals that live a completely unnatural life and are given foods that are, not healthy for them and not healthy for us. And in addition to that, they're given, hormones and antibiotics and grain that's GMO grains. And, and they're miserable on top of it. You are what you eat.
You are what you eat, and that is true. And as you said before, Socrates' great teaching from all those eons ago that, food is medicine. Medicine is food. I think we've forgotten that. We've come to the fast food.
Well, we're going to forget everything that indigenous cultures already know for 5,000 years if we don't start, turning this around, because we're slipping into a rabbit hole towards our own demise. They're dumbing down our instincts, and all in the name of greed. So, if it's about greed, then hit them where they live and stop buying this stuff.
So again, I want to really encourage everyone to attend the Cancer Schmancer Summit, which is going to be on October 26th at the Skirball Cultural Center in Los Angeles. You can purchase your tickets and find out more information at cancerschmancer.org. So, Fran, you really are the queen of the Cancer Schmancer movement, and your voice obviously is well known, but so is your message. And I think it's wonderful that from a celebrity status, you really are using your voice for a spiritual, in my opinion, a spiritual mission on the earth. So I really want to honor you for that. So in closing, because we want to let you go and thank you and apologize for the little break that we had, but we used it to teach some metaphysical teachings around everything that you are representing. Is there one last message for everyone?
Detox your home. Go to cancerschmancer.org and learn how you can transform from being a patient into a medical consumer.
Thank you so much.
Come to the Health Summit.
Absolutely.
Come to the Health Summit on October 26th, please. You
Thank
won't
you,
regret
Fran.
it. I'm going to blow your mind.
I bet you will. Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks
Okay,
so much.
bye-bye.
Thanks for the support. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Gibbs A. Williams, Ph.D., is a practicing psychoanalyst, supervisor, researcher, and author in New York City. Much of his life has been dedicated to understanding nature and the uses of meaningful coincidences or synchronicities. His radical and original non-Jungian, non-mystical, non-magical theory of synchronicities illuminates much of the fog surrounding this challenging and perplexing topic. His ideas and manners are fresh, presented in a style that is both entertaining and highly informative. He is also an expert on crisis intervention, specially focused on violence reduction for the police and citizens, mastering anxiety, frustration, and stress without the use of medication, and effectively preventing and treating heroin addiction. Dr. Williams can be contacted at his email address at gwwilliamsny11@aol.com or visit his website at www.drgibbswilliams.com.
Shamanism is recognized as a method to access the quantum level. Mastery of shamanic skills puts spiritual information and healing power into your hands. Path Home Shamanic Art School, a bonded Colorado certified occupational school, has met rigorous state standards, ensuring its director and instructors have the qualifications to teach the shamanic arts. Path Home offers its certification program in blocks of study. Block 1, a 5-day intensive, will be held in the beautiful mountain town of Coaldale, Colorado, October 13th through 18th. Registration deadline is September 12th. Experience journey trance, power animals, helping spirits, sacred space, and life purpose. Come discover your power. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, in the magical world of shamanism. Call 303-775-3431 or visit findyourpathhome.com.
Wouldn't you love to know the secret to everything? Well then, meet Dr. Kimberly McGeorge and her cutting-edge breakthrough knowledge that combines science with possibility. Dr. Kimberly brings real-life answers and healing to those open to alternative solutions. She teaches solution-based programs and classes that will change all areas of your life forever. Specializing in conscious creation, intuitive readings, and energy medicine, you can rapidly shift health, relationships, business, and money and abundance challenges quickly. Receive her best-selling book, Secret to Everything, at no cost by going to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone. That's right, transformation can start now. Just go to secrettoeverything.com/X-Zone and receive Dr. Kimberly's book for free.
While science pursues fact, magic accesses the quantum level, bridging random facts to form truth. As long as science and magic remain separate and polarized, the truth cannot be known. I'm Gwilda Wiyaka. Join me on the Science of Magic radio program, dedicated to unification and evolution of consciousness. During each episode, I'll be speaking with experienced and respected scientists and mystics From astrologers to astronomers, from medical doctors to shaman, the scientific method to dowsing and intuition, we'll weave together information from seemingly divergent practices to promote unity and enlightenment. Join me, Gwilda Wiyaka, and the Science of Magic right here on the Mutual Broadcast Network. For more information, visit www.thescienceofmagic.net.
As host of Dialogue with Divinity, I am thrilled to join the X-Zone Broadcast Network and their growing number of affiliates. My quest for a connection to the divine ignited my successful career path as an international spiritual counselor for over 40 years, an author of 4 books, and well-known metaphysical educator. My clients call me their spiritual mama. So my job is to offer you a radio show to help you grow spiritually with wisdom and get specific tools from guests who are experts in their field. Tune in to Dialogue with Divinity and be part of the conversation with Spirit. My goal, your happy soul. For more information, please visit my website at johannacarroll.com.
Afterlife expert Roberta Grimes was the first one to say that dying can be fun. Now her best-selling book, The Fun of Dying, is available in stores worldwide. So if you wonder whether death ends life, how it feels to die, or what heaven might be like, The Fun of Dying was written for you. And if you have always been afraid of death, or if you worry that your life has no meaning, let The Fun of Dying ease your fears and bring new meaning to your life. Nothing said in The Fun of Dying is based on the teachings of any religion. Instead, Roberta draws on evidence to explain how death happens, how it feels, and what comes next. A lot of the best death-related evidence was produced in the first half of the 20th century. When it is put together with recent discoveries, it tells a consistent and amazing story. Roberta Grimes blogs and answers questions at robertagrimes.com. Her wonderful book, The Fun of Dying, is available on Amazon and at stores worldwide wherever books are sold.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to our show. This is Johanna Carroll. I'm your host of Dialogue with Divinity, and we are continuing our conversation about this amazing Cancer Schmancer movement and summit that's going to be in Los Angeles on October 26th. And the woman that I'm bringing on now, I'm so excited for everyone to listen to what she has to say, because for over a decade, Stacey Malkin has led campaigns to move the market to safer products and healthy food. She's the author of the award-winning book, Not Just a Pretty Face, The Ugly Side of the Beauty Industry. And she's co-founder of the National Campaign for Safe Cosmetics. She was named one of the most 7 powerful women in the natural beauty industry. And she's currently the co-director of the public watchdog group, U.S. Right to Know, which stands up for truth and transparency in our food system. So, Stacey, welcome to Dialogue with Divinity.
Thanks so much for having me, Johanna.
For 10 years, while you've been really out there, Fran was talking about everybody needs to have a voice and everybody needs to, lead the troops, and we really need to shift the consciousness. So you led an incredible effort to investigate toxic chemicals in personal care products. Can you talk about that a little? Because I know you also have some alternatives to offer as well.
Sure. This is part of a huge and I think so exciting movement of largely women who are saying, we want to know what's in the products that we put on our bodies, put on our faces, in our hair, and on our children. And I started with a group of women about 12 years ago now. Can't believe it's been so long. But we started investigating personal care products to look for chemicals of concern, and we found plenty to be concerned about. And we formed over the years a large coalition of groups, researchers, advocates, who decided to really take a close look at, what's in the personal care products that we're putting on our bodies. Nobody had really done that. And over the years, we did tons of research, sending hundreds of products to labs to have them tested, put together with our colleagues at Environmental Working Group a huge database of chemicals and cosmetics. So we were really able to answer that question for the first time, what's in these products. And unfortunately, we found that many of the products we use every day, so shampoos, deodorants, lotions, even unfortunately baby products, that's been some of the most disturbing findings to me, commonly contain chemicals that are linked to cancer, hormone disruption, birth defects, allergies, asthma, and this is just not necessary.
I read an article recently about baby powder and how I don't know why all of a sudden it's coming out now. Maybe there's just the voice is louder and the conversation is there. But women that were using baby powder themselves and their near their lady parts, and how it really affected the fact that a lot of them actually got cancer from this. Is that a correct statement?
Well, yeah, the reason that it's coming out now is because Johnson & Johnson has been getting sued by women who had ovarian cancer or who died from it, women who had used talc-containing baby powder on the most sensitive parts of their bodies, as you said, for decades, some of these women. And when it's gotten to court, they see that Johnson & Johnson had evidence that there were concerns about links to ovarian cancer. And rather than backing away from, putting it in their products or marketing these products for use on women's parts and also babies' butts, where do we use talc baby powder but those sensitive locations, exactly where you shouldn't use them, because that's where the risk is highest.
I know that you've been working with Congress, and I know that one of the notes that I've got here is that Congress is finally going to update the 70-year-old cosmetic laws. Do you really see that this is really going to happen next year? You said the bipartisan bill that's on the table is really weak. Why is it weak, and do you think this will really come to pass?
Well, it's a big deal because the cosmetic laws are 7 decades old, and they really give FDA almost no power to do anything to get dangerous products off the market. And so they need to be changed. Even the industry is saying that, we need to change these laws because they recognize that consumers have lost confidence. A lot of people, of course, believe that products on the shelves, somebody's making sure that they're safe, but that's not the case with cosmetics. And as people have had there's been a revolution in awareness about this. So many people are asking questions, changing their, the products that they're buying, starting companies. The good news is there's lots of good products on the market. You need to do your research to find them, and people are doing that and demanding changes. Even some of the big companies have made changes. So at this point now, companies, environmental groups, everyone's saying, okay, we have to change these laws. And there is a commitment in Congress to get that done. And we expect that it's probably going to move next year, probably right around the summer. And it's really going to take a huge concerted consumer rights efforts to get real protections in that bill. Right now, it falls far short.
I noticed lately that Alicia Keys, who I absolutely love, she stopped wearing makeup. I don't know if you noticed that or not, but I did.
I saw that. She looks great.
She does look great. And, she's a very conscious person.
Did you know
she's
that
very
when you're
awake,
on the road
she's very
with
aware,
limited data
which is what
or Wi-Fi,
everybody
you
that's
can still
listening
listen to the
right
X-Zone
now,
radio show with Rob
McConnell,
The Science of Magic with Wilda Wiaka,
so she
High
stopped
Tech with
wearing
Corey K,
the
and every
makeup
minute of the
because she just wanted
24/7,
her
365
natural
programming
self to
of
come
the
out. It
X-Zone
wasn't
Broadcast
necessarily her
Network
ego.
by
It
calling
was also a health concern. Because, there's a spiritual teaching that says that we've basically been sold
no
this idea
smartphone,
that
app, or
makeup
internet needed.
makes
It
up
saves
the
your
difference,
data plan, and
and
it's
so
free
it's obviously
if you have
a
unlimited minutes.
multi-billion industry
Call
if you don't wear a certain kind of mascara.
712-432-9459.
You're like a
Listen on
grandmother
any
or something
phone,
like this. But when I see someone like
anywhere.
Alicia Keys,
Remember,
who's got this beautiful natural face, and I'm not saying everybody's got to
for the
throw out
best
their
of
makeup,
paranormal,
but
new age,
for those of you that are listening,
sci-fi
really
radio
go and check
programming,
out your
24/7,
makeup. So
365.
I know that you definitely, your whole committee has really been great with the good news that there are safer alternatives. So the whole campaign for safe cosmetics, where would an individual consumer who may be listening to our show right now, where would they go to to
Coming
really
soon to the
take a look
X-Zone
at what they've
Broadcast
got,
Network
what
is
they
a
should
different
get rid of,
perspective
and what
with
they
me,
should
Kevin
replace
Randall,
it
as your
with, if
host.
in fact they want
We'll
to
be taking a
continue
close
wearing
look at what
makeup.
is happening in the world of UFOs
Well,
today with
great
side trips into the
resources are
paranormal.
available at
Guests will range from those who are household names to those who have a
including
different
all the
perspective
research
on a
we've
variety
done
of
on
topics.
products,
No topic will be
foods
taboo,
making
but there will
better
be tough
products,
questions
and also
asked
the
as we
Skin
all
Deep
search for the truth about
database,
UFOs,
where
the
you can go
paranormal,
online
and those things that excite
research your
us.
products,
Sometimes we'll agree
find
with a
out
guest, and
what's
sometimes
in
we
them,
won't, but
maybe
we'll
more
try to
than you
keep the
ever want to
program
know
topical.
about what's in them.
For those of you
And
who like to
also how
read, be
find
sure
the
to visit
safest options in each product category. So
www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com
there's
and
like
remember to
over
listen to the other
1,000
fine
shampoos
programs on the X-Zone
listed from
Broadcast
safest
Network
to
at
0, 1, and 2 scores to most
www.xzbn.net.
toxic at a red circle, which is a 10. So that's the Skin Deep database, which you can find on safecosmetics.org. But I think the best advice, and I love the story you just told about Alicia, because I think there's really the beauty industry has two
For nearly 30 years, I have been
toxicity
investigating the
problems.
case of the
The
Roswell
first is
UFO.
that there are toxic
I have interviewed
chemicals
hundreds
in
of
way
people
too
who
many of
stood
the
on the
products
crash
that
site.
aren't necessary.
Now, in Roswell
And
in
then
the 21st
second part of
century,
that
I
is
have
the
reviewed
toxic
dozens of
messages
hours of
that they
audio
put
and
out
videotape
telling
interviews,
people
examined
what we
hundreds
need
of
to do
files
to
that
be
relate to the
beautiful.
crash,
That's
and have
true.
returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective.
Better than more.
For the first time in
fewer,
Roswell in the 21st century,
products
I have made a
overall,
dispassionate
especially there's so much
reevaluation of
out
all
there we
that
don't
material
need
and
that is
provide a new
marketed
look
to
at what
us.
happened.
A lotion,
This is a
different
book
lotion
that
for
clears
every
away
part
all
of
the
our
clutter that
body.
has hidden the truth for so
Stuff
long,
like bubble
strips
bath
away
or
the
air
various lies
freshener,
that
just,
surround the case, exposes the
dryer
Air Force
sheets,
attempts at
all
cover-up,
this stuff,
and
just
found a core of
gratuitous
solid
chemical
information that
exposures that
tells
we
us all
can
where the
do
case stands
without
today.
and save some
Roswell in
money.
the 21st century will be available in
Also,
just a
choosing
few
products
weeks.
with
For more
fewer
information,
chemicals or
please visit my
fewer
website
ingredients, just
at
simplicity. And the same thing with food,
www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.
organic food, simple food, whole foods, whenever you can.
What happened in Benghazi is
Which
revealed by
doesn't have
Nicholas
to mean
Genix,
always. It
author
can
of
be
Obama,
overwhelming to
Islam,
learn
and
about this stuff,
Benghazi.
but
He
the good news
informs
is
the
there
American
are
people
really
that President
good,
Obama
safe
deceived them
choices,
by
products that
advocating a
work
strong
great
foreign policy
in
prior to the
personal care
2012
products.
presidential
You just have to do
election,
some
and
research
Hillary
to
Clinton
find them.
supported
And
this deception.
safecosmetics.org is a
As
great
the
place
title
to start.
infers, there is a
One of the
connection
things that we
between
talked about
Obama,
with Fran
Islam,
a little
and
bit
Benghazi.
was
Ample evidence informs Americans
there is
that
a big
Obama's early
voice that's
indoctrination
coming
into
out
the Quran
around all of
developed
this,
an
around
affinity
women's
for
health
Islam,
issues. And I think
why
a
the
lot of
Quran is
women,
the
I've had so
source
many
of
women that have
discontent
said to
in many
me,
countries,
doctor
and
doesn't
why
listen
the
to me. I
Obama
had my own
foreign policy
experience with that.
deception led to poor
And
military action
so,
and
you know,
caused the
as
loss
far
of
as
American lives in
listening
Benghazi.
to,
Genix provides
you're going to be
36
speaking at the
questions
Health
for the
Summit,
Select
correct?
Committee on Benghazi to validate if Americans are
Next
justified to
Wednesday, the
mistrust
20th,
President
October
Obama
26th.
and Hillary Clinton.
October 26th
An
in LA
overview
at
of
the
Obama,
Scribble
Islam,
Cultural
and
Center.
Benghazi is
And
presented
for those
on the
of you that are
website
listening, you can go to cancersmancer.org. And then if people want to
That's
learn more about what you're doing,
www.futureofgodamen.com.
besides the website that you've already sent women to as far as cosmetics and everything, where else can they get information? I know you've got for their food issues as well, because we're going to talk about that in a few minutes. Where would they find your information?
So my new organization, US Right to Know, you can find it online at usrtk.org. And we've been investigating what's going on behind the scenes of the food industry and really just how much corporate influence goes into what we hear from universities, professors, government agencies about nutrition. A lot of it's just been wrong. And, you know, like, well, for example, Coke is engaged in a huge campaign to try to convince people that obesity is because we all don't exercise enough. And, you know, it has nothing to do with sugary soda. So we don't need to tax soda and we don't need to worry about soda. Everybody just needs to exercise more. That's just an example of kind of big food's influence on, funding nutrition studies and professors and huge, well-funded front groups. And so there are a lot of inaccurate, they'll pay dietitians to tweet. It's just coming from all angles. So you really have to have your BS detector up for what we're hearing about food. You mentioned Fran, and I wanted to say the event next week, October 26th, it's awesome. I love Fran's Cancer Schmancer Health Summit because she's so inspiring as a person who's had cancer and realized, like you were saying, we have to take our health into our own hands and become empowered ourselves to find paths to healing. And Fran's message really jazzes up women and cancer survivors to do that and realize, there are things you can do to make your environment safer. And then there are things we can do together to advocate for policies to make the beauty industry clean up its act.
I always say that a smart woman reads and she learns through her life experiences, and a wise woman listens to her soul. And I know my husband and I were having this discussion about, food and diet. We're very, very conscious about this. And he said to me, you know what? Doctors forget to ask people, how are you feeling? Instead of all these symptoms, that are coming from Coke and sugar and chips and all this, McDonald's or whatever, fast food industry, they're not paying attention to how are you really feeling? And I think a lot of people that are listening, you got to ask yourself that question. How do I really feel? How does my body, my mind, my spirit, my heart and soul really, really feel? So relative to the, we got a few minutes to talk about the food industry and the labeling. And, somehow, though, the GMO thing, it's gotten a bad rap. It really has. Why is that?
Well, there has been tremendous effort. I mean, it's incredible, really, to put out misinformation, attack activists, scientists who raise concerns, and really just put forth the message: GMOs are safe, pesticides are safe. We don't worry your pretty little head about it, basically. But here in California, I worked on the labeling ballot initiative, which was 4 years ago, and it was a huge grassroots effort of women and moms, getting that labeling initiative on the ballot, because, as I was saying before, so many people are asking questions. And I think women are more getting information from each other than, looking to the experts as much, or the commercials, as we used to get, taught at what to buy from commercials. Now women are more searching for information online and building networks of informed, consumers to learn from. So that's a
Stacey,
huge shift.
We want to thank you so much for being on this show. And again, we're reminding everyone to attend Cancer Smasher Summit in LA, October 26th next week. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time. And for all of you, sending you a beautiful hug to your heart. And to remember, pay attention to what you're eating, what you're putting on your face, your body, mind, spirit. Bye for now.
Did you know that when you're on the road with limited data or Wi-Fi, you can still listen to the X-Zone radio show with Rob McConnell, The Science of Magic with Gwilda Wiyaka, High Tech with Corey Kay, and every minute of the 24/7, 365 programming of the X-Zone Broadcast Network by calling 712-432-9459, courtesy of TalkStream Live. No smartphone, app, or internet needed. It saves your data plan, and it's free if you have unlimited minutes. Call 712-432-9459 to listen on any phone, anytime, anywhere. Remember, 712-432-9459 for the best of paranormal, new age, thought-provoking, sci-fi radio programming 24/7, 365.
I am Dr. Carl O'Helvey, founder, president of a new cancer foundation focusing on evidence-based physical, mental, and spiritual interventions, including natural cancer cures, prayer, meditation, affirmations, nutrition, and other related holistic cancer prevention and cure modalities. These are used in cancer education, research, and financing care. I ask for your help to continue this important work by donating at www.holisticcancerfoundation.com.
This is Kevin Randall. For nearly 30 years, I have been investigating the case of the Roswell UFO. I have interviewed hundreds of people and stood on the crash site. Now, in Roswell in the 21st Century, I have reviewed dozens of hours of audio and videotaped interviews, examined hundreds of files that relate to the crash, and have returned to Roswell in an attempt to put all that information into the proper perspective. For the first time in Roswell in the 21st Century, I have made a dispassionate reevaluation of all that material and provide a new look at what happened. This is a book that clears away all the clutter that has hidden the truth for so long, strips away the various lies that surround the case, exposes the Air Force attempts at cover-up, and found a core of solid information that tells us all where the case stands today. Roswell in the 21st Century will be available in just a few weeks. For more information, please visit my website at www.kevinrandall.blogspot.com.